Hi everyone, Maria Baker here. How many of you know someone who has been affected by domestic violence? Most of us do. A friend, a family member, a coworker, or someone we heard about but never realized was struggling. For some of us, this experience is personal and stays with us long after the situation ends. I experienced domestic violence when I was very young. At the time, it was at a time when the laws were very different from what they are today. The protections we now expect simply didn't exist back then. The person who harmed me, someone much older, was never held accountable. I also didn't feel safe enough or supported enough to come forward. My mother tried, but the legal system did not protect children the way it should have. That experience stayed with me for decades. It shaped how I see safety, trauma, and the importance of having real systems in place to protect survivors. It also showed me how vulnerable victims can be, especially when no one believes them or when the laws work against them instead of for them. Domestic violence is not just a private family issue, it is a public health crisis, one that harms individuals, families, children, and entire communities. It remains widespread, deadly, and deeply misunderstood. The more we understand the problems, the causes, and the solutions, the more we can push for meaningful change and support the people whose lives depend on it. Problems. The first major problem is that domestic violence has expanded into digital spaces, creating new forms of control and harm. According to Social Psychiatry and Psychiatric Epidemiology Spring Nature on July 28th, 2021, 6.6% of adults reported threatening or obscene messages from partners, and most victims were women under the age of 35. Abuse no longer ends when someone walks out the door. It follows them through phones, social media, GPS tracking, and constant surveillance. Digital abuse means victims can be stalked or threatened at any time of day. It also means abusers can reach victims even after the relationship ends, making it harder to escape. For younger people, especially teenagers, young adults, phones are tied to their whole social life. So digital abuse can isolate them from friendships, jobs, or support networks. The second major problem is the extreme danger survivors face when trying to leave an abusive relationship. Many people ask, why don't they just leave? But leaving is often the most dangerous moment. According to Child Care in Practice, Taylor and Francis, on March 13th, 2024, victims are at the greatest risk of homicide at the point of separation. This means the moment someone finally builds the courage to escape is the moment their life is most at risk. Causes. One of the major causes of domestic violence is the psychological impact and shame of trauma. According to the Journal of Clinical Psychology, Wiley, on February 26, 2024, shame leads to avoidant and impulsive coping, which traps survivors and limits their willingness to seek help when a victim feels ashamed, believing the abuse is their own fault, or that no one will believe them. They often isolate themselves. That isolation keeps them stuck. A second cause is alcohol use inside the home, which is often overlooked. According to Drug and Alcohol Review, Wiley, on October 24th, 2022, alcohol increases both the occurrence and severity of domestic violence, especially when drinking happens at home. Alcohol intensifies aggression in individuals already inclined toward total control or abuse. Here are some solutions. One effective solution is expanding and integrated domestic violence IDV courts. So, according to the Journal of Social Welfare and Family Law, Taylor and Francis in 2018, IDV courts improved outcomes by coordinating criminal, family, and civil cases in one place. This prevents survivors from having to navigate multiple courtrooms or reportedly telling their stories. It also helps abusers from manipulating separate systems. Another solution is greater federal investment in domestic violence services. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, OVW, on February/March 2025, the DOJ awarded $690 million in grants for survivor services nationwide. This includes shelters, counseling, legal support, prevention programs, and emergency housing. In my conclusion, domestic violence takes many forms, including digital abuse, physical harm, psychological trauma, emotional manipulation, and legal danger during separation. As someone who has experienced domestic violence at a young age, I understand how damaging it is when systems fail. I also know firsthand how long survivors carry their experiences. Researching this topic reminded me how far we've come and how far we still need to go. Survivors deserve protection that didn't exist for people like me. They deserve to be heard, believed, and supported. By understanding the problems, recognizing the causes, and advocating for strong solutions, we can help build a future where survivors are safer and where domestic violence is taken as seriously as any other public health threat. Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you.